Hey there, it's Billy Beck III. I wanted to create this audio for you so that you're ahead of the game, so that you have an advantage going into your training and your nutrition. When you want to master your body, you got to think of it as a game. And so in this audio, I'm going to teach you a simple concept I call the body energy bank account. Now, the theme of each day is you don't need to know what you're going to do for the next 6 months or a year with your training and nutrition. You need to know what you need to do today. And that's what I call win the day. So by winning the day, you're really taking a scorecard of what you did today and what you didn't do. For instance, there's categories to this. And so when I work with someone, I'm always looking at these categories in order to understand where they're at. Because people think if I just exercise more and eat less, then I'll get the body that I'm proud of. And if it was that simple, everyone, 3 out of 4 people wouldn't be overweight in the country and North America. And so what we look at is the first thing I want to look at is like, how do you deal with stress? Because too much exercise becomes a distress. And the right amount of exercise is what's called eustress or beneficial stress. It's the type of stress that transforms your body and doesn't destroy it. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for this balance sheet of the body bank account, an energy account, because we all want more energy. We want more vitality so that we can feel good and we can achieve the things we want to achieve and be our best for ourselves and for others. It's not just about the way we look, right? But that is a cool side effect of it. Now, here's the categories real quick. Sleep and recovery would be something. So if someone when I first started working with Tony, for instance, he was sleeping like 3 to 4 hours a night. And so he couldn't exercise. Any type of exercise would be a distress to his body. His body wouldn't be able to recover from it. So what we got to do is we need to do like a cash infusion into the body bank account. We need to add resources to it so it can deal with stress in a positive way and allow you to use stress of exercise to make you better. So what we want to do is improve someone's sleep. Now, that ranges between 6 and 8 hours if you look at the research. No one really does good, even with a certain genetic mutation, where they can sleep less with less than 6 hours. In fact, there's some research that shows if people sleep less than 6 hours consistently through their life, they will actually live a decade less. So sleep is incredible. And there's this whole thing with motivational people saying like, I'll sleep when I die and I got to do more work and other things. Otherwise, my life isn't worth living. That's a bunch of shit. Really, there's no way. It's so hard to live in a beautiful state and enjoy life when your body's telling you like, hey, rest. And you're using will to overcome that. So the first thing is sleep and recovery. Now, recovery would also be like meditation or a nap or low stress exercise or devices like that we use, like pulsed electromagnetic field frequency, or like a biocharger or a new calm, things like that. Things that allow your body to recharge. Another category would be nutrition, the quality and quantity of food you eat. So you could eat really good, but eat way too much. Difficult to do, but that's possible. Now, a lot of people eat far too less nutritious foods, and then they have cravings all the time. And so that would be a stress to the body. When you don't eat enough food, you stress the body. You're like, well, I want to lose weight. Well, the way you lose weight is you give your body the right amount of the right types of foods. And we look at the DNA test and so forth, the lab test, and we tell you, okay, for you as an individual, this is what your food would look like. When you make your plate, this is what's ideal for you. Maybe not for everybody, but for you, because we're looking at your genetics. Right? The other thing is hydration. Now, hydration is incredibly important. And people say, oh, I drink a lot of water. And then I ask them, well, how much? And you're like, oh, a lot. That doesn't tell me anything. I am a scientist. I need numbers. And so you need to measure things, because I can't tell you how many times people have told me, oh, I drink so much water. And then when we actually measure it, they don't drink very much water at all. Now, a simple rule for most people is you take your body weight, divide it in half, and that's how many ounces you would have a day. So if you weighed 200 pounds, you would drink 100 ounces of water a day, which is about 3 liters of water. Very simple formula. Now, if you don't live in Las Vegas and all of a sudden you go to Las Vegas for 2 weeks, you're going to need more water because you're going to be losing water because of the change in climate. Does that make sense? Now, if you also start training for a triathlon and you're outside and you're doing 3 hours of cardio a day of endurance work, you're going to need more water too. But for most people, half their body weight in ounces of water per day will do the trick. Another thing is supplementation. Now, supplementation can harm you or it can help you. There's a lot there. I'll teach you more about this as we go along, but There are a number of supplements that when you read the label, then you send it to a lab to analyze it, don't have what's supposed to be in there. And they have some other things, and sometimes they're harmful. Also, just genetically, people process things differently. So there's a gene mutation called the MTHFR gene mutation. You don't need to remember that, but I'll teach you about that later on. And if you have that, about half of us do, there's certain types of B vitamins, very common ones, that can cause harm to us, specifically inflammation in the arteries. So those are very important. But now say you take the sleep and you get more sleep. You're getting enough quality and quantity of nutrition. You're getting enough water. You're filling in the gaps with really good supplementation. Now you have more resources. You added cash to your body bank account, to your energy account. Now you can put out more work and get greater results. But if you are depleted, you cannot train hard. Now, when it comes to training, there are 3 types of training, and I always put these 3 types of trainings within a weekly program. The first one is resistance training. It's very important because it is what makes you stronger. It's the thing to make sure that you have muscle. When someone says, I want to have definition, it's because they have muscle. They're like, I want to see that little line in my stomach. But that's muscle. You need to have that. If you just do aerobic work or cardio work and don't do resistance training, you will lose muscle. I promise you that. Now, after resistance training, there's cardiovascular conditioning that I alluded to. There's various ways of doing this, and they're actually very similar. So when someone says, oh, you got to do interval training because it's more effective, than steady state cardio. Steady state cardio is when you just say like, hey, I'm going to train for 20 minutes straight and keep the intensity about the same. Interval training is when you do a recovery period and then an intense period. Then you rest and you recover. Then you go intense again and you rest and recover. If you actually look at the whole body of scientific literature on this, they're very similar. And that's what I do. I look at these things all the time. And so the key is you got to exercise and you got to make it challenging. I'll be teaching you more about this stuff. But the big thing is understand this concept of the body bank account. So resistance training, cardiovascular conditioning, and the third type is mobility and structural balance. We want to make sure you don't get an injury. We want to make sure you can move and you're athletic and that you feel good and you're like a panther. Right? You got mobility and you're not stiff. These things are really, really important for long-term success here. Now, this allows us to look, okay, how do we need more resources? Like I haven't slept, so what do? You got to sleep. I haven't been eating enough food. I've been traveling. That's just a story. You can still eat good when you're traveling. It's easy to do it now. You just got to make it a priority. Now, there's a couple other things. There's mental and emotional stress. And there's good stress, and eustress, and there's distress, the not so good stress. Now, obviously, the goal is to live in a beautiful state of being. And if you do that, that means you're living in a positive emotional state. And that gives you resources. And that gives you a greater ability to recover. If you're always stressed, always negative, it actually affects your body bank account, your energy bank account. You are forcing yourself to do things instead of flowing and allowing things to occur in your body. But I just want to make this short audio just so you understand and you introduce this, because your only goal is to win the day. How can you win this day? And it doesn't mean just do more and eat less. That's not the answer. The answer is to be intelligent and to look at your body and look at your day, one day at a time, okay? What am I going to eat today? How am I going to fuel my body? How much water am I going to drink today? Am I going to drink a bunch of coffee because I'm tired? Or am I going to drink green tea or just water? Or use exercise to produce energy? Or use some breath work? There's all these different options, and over the next 6 months or so, let's really take some time and focus on these. But take it one day at a time, win the day, and your victories start to line yourselves up, and you start to see results. You start to see physical change. But your purpose for doing this each day is to connect with your high self, your true self, that lion or lioness. And when you do that, you win the day. And then you start to make really great decisions in your business and relationships and your finances and with your health and your fitness, all these things. But I've worked with some incredibly successful people in my life, and I've been very blessed to do that. But this is what they do. This is how they think. It's no one's teaching this. It's super simple. It's hard to write a book about something this simple, but I can make a short 10-minute audio for you. All right. If you have questions, let me know. Enjoy.
You tap into the real you, but you have to retrain yourself. The way you retrain yourself is you wake your ass up in the morning and you say, I am here for a reason and a purpose. And it's bigger than my moods. It's bigger than the difficulties of the day. I am here to live like a lion, not the fear of a lamb.